Imagine a vast open land under a giant blue sky. This was the home of the Mongols, nomadic tribes from the Central Asian steppes. They were tough. They were skilled, living their lives on horseback. Herds moved with them, searching for fresh grass and water. Constant movement. Masters of survival in a harsh land. Not cities with tall buildings but round felt tents called gurs, packed up and moved in a flash. Resilient and adaptable, qualities that would shake the world. Before their empire, Tengrism, worship of the eternal blue sky, reverence for ancestors and spirits in the mountains, rivers, and trees. Powerful shamans spoke with these spirits. Nature and spirit were at the heart of their culture. It guided their actions. Everything changed with Temujin. You know him as Genghis Khan. Early 13th century, he did the impossible. He united the warring Mongol tribes into one nation, a brilliant strategist and charismatic leader. The Mongol journey westwards began under the leadership of Genghis Khan himself. His armies, a thundering tide of horsemen, were unlike anything the world had ever seen. They were fast, disciplined, and incredibly skilled archers. They could ride for days, sleep in their saddles, and shoot with deadly accuracy at full gallop. Their first major encounters with the Islamic world were with the Khwarezmian Empire, a center of Islamic culture and learning. But it was about to face a storm it could not withstand. Genghis Khan sent a trade caravan and envoys to the Khwarezmian Shah seeking peaceful trade. They were accused of spying and executed at Otrar. When Genghis Khan sent ambassadors to demand justice, the Shah had them killed as well, a grave insult he could not ignore. It sealed Khwarezm's fate. The Mongol army swept through the Islamic heartlands like wildfire. The invasion was devastating between 1219 and 1221, cities besieged, populations destroyed. They used tactics like feigned retreats and encirclements to outmaneuver and crush opponents, making terror a deliberate strategy. Libraries burned, grand mosques razed, irrigation systems destroyed. For many it felt like the end of the world. When the Mongols first conquered Muslim lands, it was a profound shock to local people. They were seen as outsiders with strange customs. Their religion, Tengrism, was very different from Islam. Differences over food, prayer, and ritual slaughter created tension and unease for Muslim populations. Their legal code, the Yasa, sometimes clashed with Islamic Sharia, creating confusion under occupation. The conquest itself was brutal. The fall of Baghdad in 1258 under Hulagu was particularly devastating. Baghdad, a hub of science and art, was sacked. Books were thrown into the Tigris until the water ran black with ink. However, Mongol approach to religion was more complex. From the start, their empire practiced pragmatic tolerance. Genghis Khan's Yasa often protected all religions. Religious leaders were exempted from taxes if they prayed for the Khan. They rebuilt trade routes, the Pax Mongolica, allowing merchants, many Muslim, to travel safely across Eurasia. Mosques continued to function. Scholars could still study and teach. Life slowly settled into a new reality. This created a strange situation. Conquered peoples practiced their faith under rulers they considered pagan. Tolerance opened the door for Islam to survive, and later to flourish, sometimes influencing Mongol elites themselves. In the decades after conquest, the Mongol Empire divided into 4 khanates, the Golden Horde and the Ilkhanate among them. The Golden Horde controlled parts of Russia and Central Asia. The Ilkhanate covered Persia, Iraq, and nearby lands. Initially, the Mongol elite remained distinct, holding to Tengri beliefs, language, and nomadic traditions. Their priorities were collecting taxes and maintaining order. They were efficient administrators who needed local expertise. They repaired the Silk Road, made travel safer than before, and commerce and exchange resumed. Merchants from China to the Middle East carried goods, ideas, and technologies across the empire. The Mongols relied on Persian scribes and administrators. Many educated Muslims were employed as advisors and clerks. Close daily interaction with scholars exposed Mongol leaders to Islamic art, science, and religion, not as enemies, but as colleagues. This constant contact slowly broke down barriers, paving the way for deeper transformation. They remained political masters but relied on Muslim subjects to manage the empire, a dynamic that would change identities over time. Mongol exposure to Persian art, science, and religion set the cultural stage for a transformation that followed. A pivotal moment in Mongol-Islam relations happened on the grassy steppes of the Golden Horde. The ruler was Berk Khan, a grandson of Genghis Khan and brother to Batu. During his travels he met Muslim scholars and was impressed by their piety. In 1252, while still a prince, Berk converted to Islam, the first major Mongol ruler to embrace his subjects' faith. When he became Khan in 1257, he began promoting Islam, establishing mosques, encouraging Quranic study, and patronizing scholars. His capital, Sarai, became a center of Islamic culture, sending the message that one could be both Mongol and Muslim. But Berk's conversion changed politics. His cousin Hulagu sacked Baghdad in 1258, killing the Abbasid Caliph, an act Berk found unforgivable. Berk declared war on Hulagu, Mongol fighting Mongol in the name of Islam. The empire began to fracture along religious lines. Berk allied with the Mamluks, helping protect the Islamic heartlands from further Ilkhanate destruction. His conversion redrew the political map. The idea of a unified Mongol empire began to crack, with religion as a decisive wedge. Meanwhile, the Ilkhanate in Persia remained culturally and religiously distinct for decades. Descendants of Hulagu resisted assimilation, often patronizing Buddhism and Christianity to retain their identity. At the end of the 13th century, Ghazan Khan came to the throne of the Ilkhanate in 1295 during political instability. To secure support, he publicly converted to Sunni Islam, taking the name Mahmud, a grand political statement, not a private act. He made Islam the state religion and replaced elements of the Mongol Yasa with Sharia law. He ordered the destruction of some Buddhist and Christian institutions, a stark reversal of earlier pragmatic tolerance. Ghazan surrounded himself with Muslim advisors like Rashid al-Din and implemented reforms that anchored the Ilkhanate in the Islamic world. Under him, Tabriz flourished. Mosques, madrasas, observatories, artists and scholars were patronized, creating a cultural renaissance. Ghazan was learned, fluent in several languages. His patronage linked Persia firmly to the wider Islamic intellectual world. His reign showed that a Mongol ruler could adopt Islam and become one of its great champions, ushering in a golden age for Islam in Persia. The conversion of Khans like Ghazan did more than change beliefs. It reshaped their rule. From foreign elite conquerors, they became Muslim sultans with new legitimacy among their subjects. Architecture changed. Gurs gave way to palaces, magnificent mosques and decorated tombs in Persian Islamic style. Art blended Mongol and Islamic traditions. Persian miniatures could show Mongol features within Islamic subjects. Islamic law and the ulama gained influence. The Persian language became central to court and administration. Mongol rulers became Persianized, preserving lineage pride while adopting Islamic identity. Identity shifted. They were still Genghis Khan's descendants, but their rule intertwined with Islam and Persian culture. They increasingly saw themselves as part of the broader Islamic world, defenders and patrons of the faith. The Mongol transformation produced rich syncretic art and architecture, turning former destroyers into builders of Islamic civilization. This demonstrates culture's power to reshape politics and identity. The Mongols became proud patrons of Islam. The long-term impact of Mongol embrace of Islam was profound and still felt today. A blending of cultures occurred. Persian art moved east, Chinese techniques traveled west along the Silk Road. Merchants and scholars exchanged goods, technologies and manuscripts, and accelerated cultural fusion. Hybrid objects emerged, Chinese motifs in Islamic contexts, Persian designs with East Asian techniques. The Arab-centric Abbasid Caliphate was gone. New centers of Islamic power shifted eastward to Persia and Central Asia. The Golden Horde's conversion anchored Islam in regions of Russia, the Caucasus, and along the Volga for centuries. From the Mongol legacy arose future empires. Timur, the Timurids, and later the Mughals blended Mongol Turkic and Persian Islamic traditions. These dynasties continued military tradition while championing Persian Islamic art and culture. The cultural fusion shaped the history of India, Central Asia, and the Islamic world overall. Ultimately, this saga shows that empires are about more than armies. They are about people, ideas, and how cultures can merge and create something new. So, what is the shocking truth about the Mongols and Islam? It did not end with destruction. That was the explosive first chapter. The next chapter was transformation and cultural rebirth. The conquerors, in a way, were themselves changed by the culture and faith they ruled. From the ashes of Baghdad and Samarkand rose a new Islamic civilization infused with Mongol, Persian, and Chinese elements. Rulers like Berk and Ghazan were pivotal, turning conquerors into patrons and guardians of Islamic civilization. Their decisions redrew borders, shaped art and science, and left echoes still visible today. This legacy is visible in modern architecture, festivals, and cultural continuity across Eurasia. The Pax Mongolica and Muslim Khans enabled an unprecedented exchange of ideas, art, and technology that shaped the modern world. History is full of surprises. enemies can become architects of a shared future. Cultures can clash and then create something new and enduring. Thank you for joining this journey back in time to uncover the Mongols and Islam. If you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit like to get more shocking truths and hidden histories. More History Hit episodes await. See you next time.